Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, stories from the 78 in Streeterville on the search, as always, for good pizza here in Chicago. And I know a lot of people think about Chicagoan deep dish. That's not all the kind of pizza that we have here. In fact, one of the 10 best pizzerias in the world is right here in Chicago. Robert's Pizza and Dough Company right here on the Ogden Slip. And this is the Ogden Slip right here. If you're not familiar, it's right off McClure Court. And that is Robert's Pizza and Dough Company. I'm going to talk to the owner, conveniently named Robert, now for this story from the 78 out here in Streeterville. So let's go and take a look at some of this award-winning pizza. All right, so take a look at this pizza. I mean, it's been over 20 years of a labor of love that has turned into Robert's Pizza and Dough Company, and I'm here with Robert and his wife, Dana. How are you guys?
Great.
Great, thanks for coming over.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the wonderful award. You landed in the top 50 here in the U.S., but explain the whole thing because I don't want to get in the way of your accolades here.
So it's a 50 top pizza. It's an Italian organization that ranks pizzas all around the world. Just recently, they ranked the pizzas in the U.S., the top 50 in the U.S., and we came in at number 10. And we are incredibly honored and humbled to be in that list. The pizziolos on that list are just incredible, and it's just, for us, it's such an honor to be included in that. That also automatically puts us on the list for top 100. If you're 12 and above on the top 50 in the U.S., you're automatically on the top 100 in the world, and we're heading to Naples in September to pick up that award.
Truly incredible. And this is your signature pie, your Rita pizza,
So this is the Rita
right?
pizza, named after my mom. So it's the only pizza that we make with Italian buffalo mozzarella, fresh basil, and we use Slagle Farm for our pork, and we make our own sausage. But the real key to this pizza is that we take a fresh plum tomato and we slow roast it for about 3.5 to 4 hours, and it caramelizes the natural sugars in the tomato, and it just has this incredible tomato flavor. So this really is one of my favorite pizzas, though. As I said, I love all of our pizzas on the menu.
But this story started way back in about 1994 when you came to Chicago, right? And you've done many things besides pizza as a profession. I mean, the pizza profession only, 5 years ago? But you've been honing your craft for pizza along with your wife here, who put up with the constant pizza making in the apartment for over 20 years here in Streeterville, right?
Yeah, so this has been kind of a labor of love for many years. When we arrived here in 93, 94, the first thing I noticed about Chicago is that there's, at least down in this neighborhood here, there's not a pizzeria on every corner like I was used to back in New York. And I love Chicago pizza, love the deep dish, love the cracker, but I needed a slice every day, so I decided I'd make it myself. And I didn't think it would be that hard. Well, the first thing I learned is making good pizza is really hard, and it took me 8 years of obsessive baking. I literally went through hundreds of recipes, baked off thousands of pies, improvised, and about 8 years in I spun this crust and said, wow, that's pretty good stuff. So fast forward 20 years later, we have a restaurant.
And Dana, you're responsible for the drive on the inside as far as the decor, and also going on this ride with your husband about, I remember you were talking earlier about walking through the neighborhood but handing out pizzas in Streeterville, and people know, oh, that's the pizza guy's wife or the lady. How'd that go?
So the way that we were making a lot of pizza in our apartment, and in our building, people knew we had pizza. They would come up the back stairs, knock on our back door, and ask if they could get a slice. So we started within our own building, we started a small demand over the course of those 20 years. But there was so much pizza, Robert would go out at about 10 o'clock at night, literally with 2 pizzas, one in each hand, walk down the street and talk to the valets and the doormen and anyone who was out on the street in our community and ask them if they were interested in a slice of pizza. And I thought he was kind of crazy, going out at 10, 11 o'clock at night. But sure enough, that was our own little focus group. We didn't realize it at the time, but we got a lot of great feedback. I, had my own community of security, because every night or every other night, Robert was feeding members of our community at 10, 11 o'clock at night with the latest version of our pizza. And we did modify that pizza for years and years and years.
In your apartment, right?
In our apartment, our kitchen was literally the laboratory. Anyone who came to our home knew they were coming for a pizza dinner. And they came happily, for these pizza dinners. And we hosted dinners probably 3 or 4 times a week. And we donated these dinners to charity events. And we were just doing this out of the sheer joy of feeding people, but also learning that people love pizza. And everyone came to our table with a pizza story or how they make their pizza. And it just started a whole, we entered a whole new community of sort of pizza, pizza aficionados. I mean, everybody had their version and gave us a lot of great feedback over the years.
Yeah, you guys were brave. I mean, you opened up a pizza place not only in a neighborhood that typically didn't have many, but you opened it up in a city that was, famous for its pizza during the I know you didn't plan on opening during the pandemic because that was already in the works, but opening a restaurant in the pandemic in an unusual spot, and you guys still made it work, and not only made it work, but you became famous for making it work because of the quality of the pizza. That's incredible.
Well, I was going to say that we really just leaned in. We learned that either we had 2 options: close or go for it, and we just leaned in, and it turned out, the community was so supportive, and that made it, at least for Robert and we had a tiny team. I think we had like 8 people. Right after that March mandate, the kitchen was operating, and that was it for that period of time. And the community was just unbelievably supportive, so it made it took a little bit of the sting out.
Yeah, and now here you are 5 years later celebrating your 5th anniversary with this fancy award that gets you to Naples. Is that right?
Yes, in September we're heading to Naples to receive the award for the top one of the top one on the list of the top 100 pizzas in the world. So that's clearly a tremendous honor, but I'm just looking forward to going to Italy.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But when we were talking before we got started here, you mentioned the many things that you did. You were the Merchant Marines, and you did all these other things that pizza was like your hobby on the side, but that turned into a labor of love, that turned into a passion, or maybe it was all there at the same time. But either way, what's it mean to you now to do all those things? You moved to a different city, a city known for pizza of all things, to open and be recognized on this level. That's got to be something pretty special for you to take with you.
It is, and we are clearly honored and humbled to be in this position at the moment. And the reception from the neighborhood, from the city of Chicago, has just really been incredible. But sort of going to all of the different things that I did prior to opening a pizza restaurant, what I've thought about a lot recently was that everything I ever learned goes into this restaurant. So my theater background, my marine engineering background, my hospitality background, it all kind of lends itself. Just at the end of the day, the restaurant business is theater, and it's really about creating an environment. It's not just about the great food, but it's about creating an environment that people want to be in, and it's very theater-like in that sense. And every night the curtain goes up, and you have to be ready.
Yeah, every night you have to be ready and willing to put on the happy face of serving customers, and that comes with people telling you that this is the best pizza I've ever had. They come back. When did you realize that you had something that was kind of special there?
Well, before we opened up the restaurant, like a lot of people thought we were a little bit crazy to get into the pizza market in Chicago, because the pizza market, there's a lot of pizza here in Chicago.
Sure.
And there's a lot of great pizza here in Chicago. And we kind of felt that we had something special that would stand out, that would be a little bit different. But we had a lot of the chefs in Chicago had ended up with invitations to our house to come and try this pizza. So we had
you guys.
we had gotten kind of the blessings of a number of the big chefs in the city, and so it was kind of with that encouragement and with the feedback from the neighborhood that we were getting by hosting these parties, etc., that we decided to kind of give it a shot.
But can I also say that we were pretty naive. We didn't know who some of these people were. They were just friends of friends, and they were like, hey, my friend so-and-so wants to come and try it, or my friend is a chef and wants to come and try it. And
right, when you say chef in Chicago, that kind of means something, because there's a lot of There's TV shows made after people who are chefs in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, we were, but because we didn't, we were just making this at home. It was not with an expectation of bringing it to market.
Sure.
So we were just happy to have people come and try it and give us their feedback, and so we were pretty naive. I mean, in retrospect, we had an unbelievable introduction to the culinary kings and queens of Chicago without truly realizing it at the time.
Well, and it's definitely paid off considering what has happened in that 5 years and the friends that you've made, I imagine, and now this trip coming up here to Italy. You have, how many different pizzas do you have on the menu?
About 18. And then we put specials.
You made 18.
Yeah.
No small feat. 18 is a lot. So to make 18 pizzas well and to get awarded, that also says something for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. And the prep work, everything is made fresh. So all of our vegetables, all the sausage is made in house. We spend hours and hours every day just prepping everything for the pizza. So most of the day is all about prep work. And then when it's dinner time or lunchtime, we all go into service. But the hours and hours of prep is really pretty remarkable.
And I also think it's important to note that most of the cheeses we use, for the most part, are from the tri-state area. They're from Wisconsin, Indiana, the state of Illinois. A lot of our charcuterie is made here in Chicago at Chicago Salumi Chicago. Salumi Chicago. Our mozzarella is from Wisconsin. So, I mean, everything is pretty locally sourced. And I think that's important, to us as well.
Absolutely, and it's important to people in Chicago because I feel like Chicago is that city that loves to hear about Chicago and loves to hear about people doing good about Chicago or using things from Chicago. So all around great story, and you have more than just pizza. And I want to make sure we get to some of the food that you brought out here as examples of other things you have. You guys want to run through what we have here?
Sure. So this is a caprese salad. It's with an heirloom tomato, Italian buffalo mozzarella, a little balsamic glaze, and a Corto olive oil. This is our arancini. Every day we make a fresh mushroom risotto. We roll it up, we stuff it with a little bit of Taleggio cheese, and then we make a house-made arrabbiata sauce to go over the top of that. And our meatballs, it's a beef and veal meatball with a little bit of pizza dough breadcrumb, house-made giardiniera, and a nice marinara sauce over the top.
So, and when you guys go to Italy for this award ceremony, do you have to bring the pizza with you? How does that whole thing work for folks who don't know?
No, actually, we just get to go and
enjoy.
We get to. It's in a theater. They gave us a golden ticket that we're supposed to present upon arrival, and that's as much as I've been asked to bring with us.
Fantastic. And for folks that have never been here, outside of the things we talked about, why should they make the trek to Streeterville to go to this pizza place?
We have a great. It's an incredible location. It's right on the Ogden Slip on the water. We have an amazing team. I mean, we have a great pizza, but the team really makes this special. It's very much a neighborhood. It's very much a neighborhood location, and we do have amazing pizzas with all fresh ingredients. We didn't get a chance to really talk about the wild yeast sourdough starter. As I said, this really is a Chicago pizza. Everything I learned about making pizzas, I learned in Chicago. I learned how to eat pizza in New York, but I only learned how to make it here in Chicago. And it starts with a wild yeast sourdough starter, which I created 25 years ago, but it's wild yeast from the Chicago air that I managed to keep alive for 25 years. That's the base of the recipe. I do
That's incredible. 25. I mean, yeah, because it's a living, breathing thing, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Wow.
So we've been together a long time, and then I do a 2 to 3 day cold ferment on my dough, and I do a very long rise. So the dough's been out for probably 5 hours before we stretch it. So it's very delicate. The result is I get a nice crispy, chewy crust with an artisan bread flavor, and it just makes for a great dining experience. So.
And I mean, it just speaks the volume of preparation and detail to the work. I mean, most people don't do anything for 25 years, let alone something that you didn't see results outside of just like your apartment and your friends that we're sampling it. So to be able to see this result with your own business right here on the Ogden Slip, which is like this little hidden, like almost like a local version of Navy Pier, the way it kind of jets out in the water. Even though you're inland, it kind of gives you that vibe. But congratulations to both of you. That's like such a wonderful story, and I'm so happy that, again, positivity putting Chicago on the map, especially for something like pizza. It's great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I was going to say one thing we didn't talk about is we have an incredible bar program too, which we haven't displayed here, but our craft cocktails are another attraction too. And we felt very strongly that we wanted to have a bar program that complemented our approach to pizza, and so that's another reason why I think people should check us out.
And for is it reservations should they do, or is walk-ins welcome? How does that whole thing work?
Walk-ins are welcome, but we highly encourage reservations, especially summer. People want to be outside, and there's a lot of people walking around, so we really encourage people to make reservations.
What's the website that you want people to go to? Speak of the Devil. Look at that. On cue, we got a beer rolling up here. Is that Dovetail?
That is Dovetail.
Aha.
That is a Dovetail.
Chicago.
Why don't you talk about that relationship?
So the website that go to robertspizza.com, and we're very active on social media. Our handle is @robertspizzaco. But robertspizza.com, you can make a reservation. We have a great to-go program if you are, wanting to pick up a pizza, take home. We offer that too, and we do offer delivery within the Chicagoland area.
And you do have craft beer here out of Chicago as well, right?
Yes. So this is Dovetail. This is, I think, the Dovetail Kolsch, and we are in honor of our 5th anniversary. We are also introducing a Dovetail Pils right here on our dock, and it's a way for us to celebrate the artistry of Dovetail. We really love their process, and Robert just spoke about his process, and there's just a lot of synergy there. So we want to, celebrate the artisans in our community that are doing a great job.
And that's true Chicago spirit, helping each other out, celebrating our accomplishments. So well done to both of you, and cheers. And thank you for sharing your time and your pizza.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, that is the story from the 78 here in Streeterville. TomBarneyChicago@gmail.com. If you have a story from the 78 suggestion, or head over to the website storiesfromthe78.com. Again, come on down to this part of Streeterville on the Ogden Slip. It's kind of like a little mini Navy Pier for locals only.